Hello, welcome back to Ubrink Studio. My name is Anita and I'm based in West Norfolk. We have got lots and lots of lovely things coming up, and while we're waiting to be able to reopen, we're doing some challenges each month, which actually I'm going to continue because they seem to be quite popular. This month's challenge, as some of you may already know, is a scrap bag challenge. So the idea is that you only use your scraps to create your piece of art. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. Now, on the previous video, I showed you how to do some applique by using a Sizzix machine to cut out your shapes, and then we ironed them onto Bonder web and machine stitched them onto a piece of fabric. This one, the second one that we're looking at, is where we're going to do a similar sort of thing. It is applique, but we're hand stitching it, so we're not going to be cutting it and we're not going to be applying it onto Bonder web first. This technique is a technique that's used by the tent makers of Cairo, and I absolutely love it. This is a piece that I'm already working on to show you how it works, and you are using scraps of fabric. So I have got here some colours that I'm using. So there's just a piece of yellow for some tulips. There's a little bit of bright, I don't know, what is it, purple. I've got some greens. You can see they're all just scraps of fabric. There's another purple there. There's nothing very exciting about any of it. And the pattern using prick and pounce has already been put onto my piece of cotton, which is then onto some linen background. Okay, now this is one of the tent makers' designs, so just to show you. So it's already been put on, and when I eventually finish it, it will be made into a cushion, I think, possibly for the studio or my house, not quite sure which. So what you do is you make your scraps into little smaller scraps, really. Just cut them up. They don't have to be a specific shape because we're going to turn them under as we're stitching. So I'm just going to adjust the camera, and I actually might move it down. Let's see how we get on. Okay, so I have made a start. I have got a great big needle. I don't usually use a needle this big, but I have. Okay, so as you can see, I have already stitched these here, but they're just folded underneath. Okay, that's all we've done is fold them underneath. This piece is the same, as you can see, it's just folded underneath. Now we're putting on this next flower, which is coming over the top of here, and as you can see, we've just stitched it down, and I'm now going to work my way round, coming round this way. And I think I need to bring the camera down, so please excuse me while I adjust, because I do want you to see what I'm up to. Otherwise there's no point in a video, really, is there? Okay, so it's tiny, tiny stitches, and I am folding this piece of fabric as I go so that it meets the lines, and I will bring it round as I'm stitching to get the shape that I need. Okay, and you are literally just picking up from one side and picking up on the other side. Okay, your stitches have to be small and neat, otherwise this won't work. Okay, so I've come up on the yellow side. Can you see that? So I'm picking up from the cotton, actually I think it's linen, is the next one. Make sure that I'm in the right area and not going over the line. Okay, so you pick up from there, tiny, tiny stitch, pick up on the yellow, again, tiny, tiny stitch, pull. Pick pick up from the white and pick up from the yellow and pull. So you follow your design round. If any of you get the opportunity to go on one of their workshops, I would highly recommend it. And I'm not going all the way through, just in case you're wondering. There's, you know, you won't see any stitches on the back because we are only stitching into the white and the yellow and nothing else. Okay, so you pick up a couple of threads, the white, bring it through to the yellow. Okay, pick up on the white, bring it through to the yellow. As you can see, the shape of the flower is how we're working. We're going round it. So we're picking up, pull that tight. I'm coming round this corner now. And as I come round, I need to uncurl. Because this is a corner, I need to undo as I'm coming round this yellow, because I need to get it to a point. Okay. So hopefully you can see that. There is another way of hand stitching. So the next thing that we want to do with hand stitching is to applique a shape, and I've cut out another one of these little hearts. It hasn't got any backing on it because we're actually going to turn it under as we're stitching. Now there is an easy way of doing it and a difficult way of doing it. The difficult way of doing it is not ironing it beforehand. So you're rolling it under as you go, which is the correct way of doing it. However, life's too short as far as I'm concerned. So I have one of these. I highly recommend these. The only qualm I have with it is it takes a long time to heat up. This end, the iron, gets very, very hot, and you can change the ends. They're all interchangeable if you wish to. It's not the cheapest bit of kit, but it's a good bit of kit. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust the camera, hopefully without burning myself, to show you how this is going to work. And what we need to do is to turn our edges over, but only the tiniest amount do we want to come under. Okay, so starting at the bottom, get it the way you want it, then bring your iron onto it and hope it's hot enough, because if it's not, this is going to take a long time. Not hot yet. That's okay, we can work both ways. This is fiddly, there's no denying it, and there's no way of making it less fiddly, but it's easier if it's pressed under to stitch. Just hold that on there for a moment, and then I'm going to start working my way round. Hoping that the iron is hot enough. It's getting there. So what we don't want to do is to lose the shape that we're working on. So now I've gone and taken that off. Look at that. That was silly, Anita. If I wasn't filming, I would have sworn then. So as you can see, as I'm turning it, we're getting a nice edge. Okay, lovely edge there. So I'm going to keep coming round, minding the fingers, of course, because what I don't want to do is burn myself again. Which is something I do quite a lot. In my art. Okay, just taking your time as you're coming round. You can tuck that under as we're stitching. Okay, so because that takes a while, we're going to leave that now and sew it on. Don't have your thread too long, because if you do, it will get in a knot. Okay, so I always start on the piece that I'm stitching. I leave quite a long thread that I'm going to leave under here. I don't like knots, because I feel that the knots make things bulky, because you have to hide that knot somehow, or you have to stitch over it and cut the knot off. So that one I am literally just going to put there, and very carefully I'm just going to go through to the back, right beside where I've come up on the heart. Okay, so it's now attached. Well, I've got it now attached. All right, now, so what we want to do is bring it up and we're going to start working. So you want to take a small piece of the white fabric. I told you it was fiddly. And I'm working backwards, which isn't helping me. Small amount of white. And then you come up into the pink. So you're taking a small amount of the pink fabric. Tiny stitch. Small amount of the white going in where you've come out of the pink. Make sure that's gone under. Okay, so go in next to where you came out. Make sure that is rolled under where you want it. And just like with the tent makers of Cairo, we're coming up into your pink piece. I don't want the stitches to be too far. Okay, make sure it stays rolled under. So into the white. I'm working backwards, so I can't really see what I'm doing here. You know that, don't you? Into the pink. This takes a lot of practice, and I have to say it is some years since I've done this. So these challenges are very good for me, because they're making me revisit work that I haven't done for a long time. So remember, you go into the white bit where you came out on the pink bit. Don't have too big a stitches, because really Do you see that? So we're working up this edge here. You see tiny stitches, and we're trying to keep them all even, and we're trying to keep them all neat. If you like hand stitching, you will enjoy this, because this takes a long time. It's not a quick fix. And it's not something that everybody likes to do. Okay, so that's just another way of appliquing your work on. But you don't need to do it by hand or by machine. You can just stick them on using your Bonder web. But what you have to remember is the Bonder web at some point, if it's a piece that's on a cushion or anything, will start to wear off. It's only glue. And it could be that you might want to use it just as a way of holding it down while you're embellishing it. So, you know, with this fabrics, these little hearts that are on this fabric, I might want to just put some beads or something on there. The same with this butterfly. So I might just iron this onto something, and then I might decide to just put beads where these flowers are, or some hand stitch along where these parts are here, so with the pattern, or hand stitch these flowers. Whichever way that you want to do it is up to you, and you might enjoy doing it in all different ways. The Bonder web is there to get it to stuck to the background. It's not there to hold it as a permanent thing, so you just need to be mindful of that. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it.